Hi guys, we're back. So we are in the speaker tent right now, and soon Kevin and Sarah are from Living Traditions is a homestead. They're about to speak, so yeah.
To come here when there's not a festival going on, it's just a really neat place to spend some time and get to know the people and learn a lot of things. So we spend as much time here as we can.
This is a wonderful experience here this weekend, but it's also a wonderful experience in the middle of the week. Also, the first Sunday of every month from April through October, they have kind of a mini festival like this. It's also fabulous. We try to come to those every time as we can.
Yeah.
But we want to start out telling you just a little bit about ourselves and our journey to where we're at right now, and also another reason why Baker Creek has been so special for us.
Right. So Sarah and I both grew up in Wisconsin. We got married when we were 22 years old, so 20 years ago.
21 this year.
Yeah. So.
Not quite yet. He's not in trouble.
Right.
Okay guys, so they just ended, and
you want to give Emily her seats?
They just ended, and next is VW Family Farm. So yeah.
We do what
the
we
satisfaction that you get from raising your own food. I know not everybody is able to, and that's where kind of our speech spills off into, is we raise food for other people that are not able to. We don't charge an arm and a leg for it, like we have seen that before. So if somebody is less fortunate and can't grow their own, we try to raise enough for ours and raise enough for other people that will help pay for ours. We're not trying to get rich off of it. We're just trying to make ends meet. So
we, like you said, we started with pigs. Their place looked like it had been mowed, like almost like a golf course.
Yeah,
and we were like, what in the world? All the pigs we'd seen had just plowed the ground up in like a day, and we really didn't want our property like that. Now, let me make a disclaimer. If you want your garden tilled, because some people use pigs to like plow their garden, you may love the standard breeds, but we wanted more of a heritage breed that would not destroy our land. Our pigs are behind, also their pigs were behind barbed wire. They were not behind.
They didn't use no hot wire.
No. So we have trained ours to hot wire, but then they usually wind up tearing it up or it gets torn down or something. So they're not really even behind hot wire. They're behind barbed wire. They're really docile. They're called old spots. So that was our first experience with people that other people considered crazy. And we were like,
Okay guys, so they just ended, and then next is Roots and Refuge. So yeah.
That's pretty weak. Hey guys. So I'm Sweet Maya. It's growing on me. This is my wonderful and amazing wife Jess, and we have a 4.5 acre farm in central Arkansas. And 6 kids. I forget sometimes how many kids we have. Once you get past 4, it's like whatever. Have 7, 8, 9, 10. But we're just gonna come here, and Jessica's gonna speak to you about the joys of gardening and heirlooms and all the things that give her all those smile wrinkles around her eyes. So take it away, love.
Thank you, baby. Oh goodness. I actually have a little bit of nerves in public speaking, and people are like, you talk to lots of people all the time. I'm like, no, I talk to a camera. It's very different. I'll tell you that by the end of these events, I'm usually just a puddle. So if I've cried or snotted on you so far, I'm really sorry. Whenever the number climbs and gets bigger and bigger, it's like, cool, we're doing a good job when it's a number on the screen. But when we come to things like this and it's real people and stories and tears and testimonies and photos of beautiful gardens, it's very different. It's very different. That's not just a number on the screen. And I think the reality of what we're doing feels real. It feels more real here than it ever does whenever we're talking to the camera at home. So thank you so much, everyone who has come out and who has shared. Please do come talk to us. We want to talk to you. You're not bothering us. It's what we came here for. Because we want to hear your stories and see your faces and hug your neck. Oh, goodness. My mom, I see my mom walking back this way. My mom was a gardener whenever I was a girl. Some of my earliest memories were in a garden. She really did a lot of ornamentals, and we always had a house full of house plants. And I specifically remember being a really young child and going with her. She would put in people's like garden beds and businesses and stuff like that, kind of as a side job. And we would go with her. And so the garden itself is something that is, you know, it's pretty familiar to me. It's not something that I had to stumble into. I kind of grew up with my feet in the dirt. However, until like my mid-20s, I was pretty much a self-proclaimed black thumb because I made some mistakes. And so I thought I wasn't good at gardening, and I just kind of accepted that as truth about myself. And so I would go to like garden centers with my mom, and you know they have that rack in the back with clearance plants. And my mother was like the hospice for plants. Like they would go to her house, or she would rehab them. She was the rehab for plants. I was the hospice. They would go to my house to die. And so like I was like, I'm a terrible gardener. I kill everything. But then I learned that I needed holes in the bottom of my pots. Like, you know, they don't sell, what is up with that? Why don't they put those in the bottom of the pots so that you go buy pots? And so many people tell me, they're like, I kill every plant. I'm like, does it have drainage? Like, I always go to the issues that I was making my mistakes whenever I was new at this. And I learned very simple things that I had been messing up on, and I had given up gardening, and I started to think, I wonder who else gave up gardening because they thought they couldn't do it because they messed up once or twice, or in, you know, a case like me, like 100 times. I killed a lot of plants. I still do. I killed plants this year, multiple ones. I've killed multiple plants. I'm very forgetful. And so, like, that's okay though. Guess what? I'm not a bad gardener. And when I started to share on YouTube, I was really kind of embarrassed at how average I was at gardening. And then all these people are like, I love your gardening and you're doing such a really good job. And I'm like, really? You really think that? And they're like, yeah, look how awesome this is. I can't grow anything. I'm like, oh, okay, I get this. Well, if I can do it, you can do it. And so since then, I'm experiencing the incredible testimony of seeing people finding joy in the garden because they learned to believe that they could. And so if you're in this room right now, my very first thing that I would like to impress upon you today is that you can garden. You can grow things, and you absolutely 100% should. That's something that I feel confident in saying is a blanket statement. There aren't a lot of blanket statements I'm confident in making because everything is not for everyone. But growing things, I genuinely believe, is for everyone. So, I think that for those of you who follow our channel, you probably know that I'm a believer. It kind of seeps out. I don't really know how to separate that. I appreciate you guys coming in and allowing me to speak and be myself in this place. But I don't know how to separate God and the garden. I can't do that. They're two absolutely 100% intertwined for me. Because to me, that's where it started. And I'm literally shaking out of my shoes right now, so I'm gonna take them off. That is literally where it started. I'm like for real shaking so hard. Guys, this is so crazy. Like, y'all are real. You're real people. You're not just a number.
We love you, Jen.
I love you.
Oh man, thank you.
So, just gonna take a second because you guys make her have all those good feelings. You know, I've just been talking a lot with people, so surprisingly enough, you know, Jessica is not the in-person person, she's the camera person, and I'm the in-person person. So like, get this a lot, meet us, it's like, oh, Jessica, you seem you tired? No, it's because you're here physically. Because like, the camera buffer is really good. Whereas like, I hate the camera buffer, I'm like, I can't connect with a camera, you know what I'm saying? So in person, I'm like, out there talking, I literally talked to someone until they literally just fell down yesterday. I was just rambling. I was preaching and all kinds of stuff. We were just sharing, and they just literally passed out. No, I'm exaggerating. I exaggerate sometimes. But in that thing, God kind of put something on me, and you ever say something like by the unction of God, and you're hearing it for the first time as it comes out of your mouth? That's a fun thing. So I literally said this and I was like, that's really good, I'm gonna remember that. But what if I told you that we grow our garden and the main reason is nothing to do with eating food? Would you believe me? That's a secondary byproduct.
Yes.
The purpose of our garden was to establish a resting place and a place to commune with God. That's true. Why we do, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I listen, I get it. We've started, we're not the originators, obviously, but we've definitely made it a lot more popular. Cattle panels, trellises, but you don't need 25, 30 cattle panel trellises for a garden. That's just not, that's way beyond functionality. That's an excess. We don't need 10,000 square feet. How many, we did the math once, how many square feet do we actually need for our family?
We could grow everything we need is like
1,000 square feet, but we have 10,000 square feet. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, well, one more garden bed, one more garden bed, let's do this, let's do that. And the thing is, we started realizing is that this had nothing to do with the extravagance of the garden, the bigness, the pavilion, the window greenhouse, why I poured so much of myself into it. Jessica wasn't lying. At the premiere, I was actually weeping at the table because for me on something like that, it's a spiritual deposit, it's an emotional deposit, it's a physical deposit, like it's a poured out thing. Like I poured it out for Jessica because I love her, but honestly, it seems crazy, I guess, but woodworking for me is a worship thing. The garden primary function for us is a worship. Like we did a video yesterday with a YouTube channel. Their names are Jessica and Jeremiah. What was the name of the channel? Arrow Ridge. Yeah, they have 7 kids. I was like, is this some kind of like alternate dimension? I'm a sci-fi guy. I'm like, is this an alternate dimension or something? It was very similar, very cool. But I was just talking to them, it's the primary thing is a worship thing. Like it's important to us. And so, the secondary function of the garden is for all the food. Like when you partner with God and see, what does it say in the scripture? Seek heaven, and then all these things will be added to you. Well, for us, that's it. Like we seek heaven for this garden, and the food is added to us. I ask you a question all the time. How important do you think a garden is to God? And people kind of stop. Well, I don't really know. Well, I mean, He created His pinnacle of creation is in the garden. So He didn't rest until after man. The pinnacle of His creation is us, and then He did it in a garden. Like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking like, we can't even fathom stars that well. I mean, we talk about them as if we know what's really going on, but I don't know. Earth's flat, not flat, whatever. It doesn't matter. You do you. What Doug and Stacy, Doug just said something to me like, you do you to death. You should. Because if you're doing someone else to death, that's a bad life. Just do you. But I'm saying like flat, not flat, stars, all that. But just think of the magnitude of all the creation and all the things we don't understand, but the pinnacle is us. And He did that in the garden. And so for us, from the beginning, the garden matters. It's important. I've never felt more connected to God than in the garden. More so than any church building, and I've done ministry from one side of the spectrum to the other, from one side of the country to the other. God is in the garden, guys. If you have never connected with God, get in the garden, because He's there. And you may not have words for it, you may not understand it completely, but that's where we find it. That was the purpose of the garden for us. You back? Yeah. All right. Thank you. That's all I got.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right? So yeah, that's a good place to pick up. I remember one specific time Daniel and I were worshiping, and we sat at the window in my living room, which actually overlooks the garden, and it used to overlook the chicken coop. And I wanted to have a farm for my whole life. It was just like such a dream. And there was a point in our life and our relationship that we couldn't make it happen. There was absolutely no way that we could force the issue. And talking to some of you guys here, I understand that for some of you, this is a deeply burning desire in your heart, but you have no idea how to make it happen. And it's this, I'm trying. And sometimes we allow fear to come in, fear that we're going to miss the bus and we're going to miss the train and we're going to miss the opportunity, or fear that